I'm Supergirl and I'm here to save the world, but I wanna know who's gonna save me. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to talk about The Princess Diaries. The Princess Diaries is a 2001 theatrical release. It's directed by Garry Marshall, cinematography by Karl Walter Lindenlaub, editing by Bruce Green, music by John Debney, and it's written by Gina Wendkos. Garry Marshall's best known for A League of Their Own, Never Been Kissed, Pretty Woman, and New Year's Eve. Also, if you did some quick math, this is the 20th anniversary of The Princess Diaries this year. Karl Walter Lindenlaub is best known for Independence Day, Stargate, Moon 44, and The Jackal. Bruce Green and John Debney I've covered in previous videos. They'll be listed and linked in the description. Gina Wendkos is best known for Coyote Ugly, The Perfect Man, this, and its sequel. The film is based off of the first book in a series of the same name. The first book is also of the same name, released in 2000. Shall we compare? Mia lives in Greenwich Village with her mother, who's a somewhat famous painter. Mia starts a diary after she finds out her mother's dating her algebra teacher. Mia has a crush on Josh, who's dating Lana, who bullies her. She also has feelings for Michael, who's her best friend Lily's brother. Mia's dad, Philippe, visits just after getting over cancer and informs Mia that she's now the crown princess of Genovia because he can no longer be the heir. Mia strikes a deal with her dad saying she wants to spend term in New York City going to the same school, but will spend breaks in Genovia getting princess lessons from her grandmother. Mia gets a makeover that Lily reacts badly to, so Mia befriends Tina, the daughter of a Saudi Arabian oil sheik. Mia keeps her royal status a secret at school, but her grandmother sells the secret to the press. Josh breaks up with Lana and takes Mia to the dance, but Mia realizes he's only using her for the fame when he kisses her in front of the paparazzi. Lily apologizes to Mia, and they plus Tina have a great time at the dance where Mia realizes her feelings for Michael. The end. For a book that is written in the point of view of a diary to be adapted, I feel like this actually isn't that bad of an adaptation reading this summary. Granted, I'm sure there's a lot more detail in the book, as there always is going to be, but the biggest changes seem to be they killed her dad, which classic Disney for doing that, and then there's no Tina in this story. You know, in our story, it's not an algebra teacher, it's a speech debate teacher. Other small differences, but like a lot of the key points I feel like are there. And the other big difference is her grandmother Clarice is much softer in the movie than she is in the book, it seems. And also she doesn't have to go to Genovia for the princess lessons, she just does it at the consulate. So I feel like the differences, like besides killing the dad instead of keeping him alive, seem pretty minute. I haven't read the book, so I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it might be a pretty good adaptation. The film stars Anne Hathaway, Julie Andrews, Heather Matarazzo, Hector Elizondo, Caroline Goodall, Mandy Moore, Robert Schwartzman, and Eric Von Detten. Anne Hathaway plays Mia and is best known for The Devil Wears Prada, Les Mis, Rachel Getting Married, The Dark Knight Rises, and many other things. Julie Andrews plays Queen Clarice, and she's best known for The Sound of Music, Mary Poppins, Victor Victoria, this, and many other things. She's Julie Andrews. Heather Matarazzo plays Lily, and is best known for Welcome to the Dollhouse, Hostel Part 2, 54, and this. Hector Elizondo plays Joe, and is best known for Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride, Beverly Hills Cop 3, this, and every other Garry Marshall film. Caroline Goodall plays Helen, and is best known for Hook, Schindler's List, Cliffhanger, and Disclosure. Mandy Moore plays Lana, and is best known for A Walk to Remember, Tangled, Saved, and This Is Us. Robert Schwartzman plays Michael, and he's best known for Dreamland, The Unicorn, The Virgin Suicides, and this. Eric Von Detten plays Josh, and I covered him in the video about Escape to Witch Mountain, link in the description. Deborah Martin Chase was asked to look into adapting the book into a movie because the publisher thought the Cabot's book would make a very good movie. Chase tried to shop it around because she thought it would be a good movie, and Disney was interested, and she jumped on that. Disney paid Cabot $4,000 for the film rights, but she ended up getting promoted at work, and she's I'm going to touch on this now. She wanted to be involved, but not so much so that it started to compromise her vision, because she knew she was going to make it a whole series instead of just the one book. And she was ultimately pleased and satisfied with the movie that they did end up making. Disney greenlit the production in partnership with Whitney Houston's Brown House Productions, which I never realized. I never realized that Whitney Houston helped produce this film, which is amazing. I didn't know that. That's incredible. Like, amazing. And Chase worked closely with Wendkos, the screenwriter, and Cabot to write the script. Garry Marshall was invited to direct, and he actually jumped on the opportunity because he thought the story was impactful. He thought it was a really awesome thing to tell of a girl becoming a woman and realizing she could have a positive impact on the world. And he took it upon himself as a challenge to make a G-rated, entertaining, for all ages family film. Because at the time, it was like the G rating like had this stigma of it, like, oh, it's only for kids. It cannot be entertaining to everybody. And he took that as a personal challenge. Anne Hathaway was the second choice after Juliette Lewis, who turned down the role. Anne Hathaway auditioned for the role during a 26-hour layover on her way to New Zealand. She was so nervous she fell out of a chair, which was partially the reason that Garry Marshall ended up picking her. Another reason was his granddaughters said she had better princess hair. And another reason was he thought that while a ton of actresses could capture the comedic elements of Mia, he really thought that Anne could really capture the poise and etiquette that Mia has in her final speech. Other actresses looked at for this role, I'm going to read because it's insane. Reese Witherspoon, Kirsten Dunst, Alicia Silverstone, Jessica Biel, Claire Danes, Kate Hudson, Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Brittany Murphy, Katie Holmes, Christina Applegate, Kate Beckinsale, Eva Mendes, Liv Tyler, all considered. Liv Tyler was among one of the last choices as well with Juliette Lewis. Hathaway apparently loved Marshall's advice, you never know what's going to be a hit, so you might as well have fun making it. Garry Marshall got Julie Andrews by meeting with her and selling her on it. It was Julie Andrews' first feature film in 15 years, and it was her first Disney film since Mary Poppins. And she used everything she learned from previous royal roles to be Queen Clarice as well as the British royal family. Her and Hector campaigned for their characters' romance, and they improvised their little dance scene, which is crushing my soul. That's so cute. Heather Matarazzo had a chemistry test with Anne, and they had very different personalities, but it was it was great. And Heather was so starstruck by Julie Andrews and getting to be in the same vicinity as her that she asked her for her autograph every second she could. And there were a lot of moments in this film that were improvised, like when Lily says, "Not you, I don't even know you," when she's telling people, Mia and Michael to wait up. That's improvised. When the guy's arm goes into the wine ice bucket, the fire was supposed to go out and it wasn't, so Anne panicked and threw the water on his arm. That was improvised. There was other improvisations too. When she fell off the bleachers is the other part that they ended up keeping in, and Heather, I think, is quoted, don't hold me to this, saying that's what she loved about Anne, is Anne just went straight along with it. She fell, she laughed, and she was like, no, keep going, what's number 2? And that made the final cut because Garry Marshall also felt that it was very funny and wanted to keep it in. And then they filmed for 3 months on the stage that Mary Poppins was filmed on, which is crazy. Gary Jones designed all the costumes, and he had real diamonds and jewels for Julie Andrews especially, so a security guard followed Julie Andrews everywhere she went while she was on set wearing the costume. Anne had to have her eyebrows, she had bushier eyebrows put on individual hair every day, as well as a hairpiece they called the Beast to make her hair even more frizzy, so the makeover would be more dramatic. The film had a $26 million budget and made $165.3 million in the box office. It's got a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes and had very mixed reviews. Some people really loved it, thought it had great heart, thought it was really funny, and that they accomplished their goal of making a G-rated movie for all ages. Were Roger Ebert hated the movie, which I'm personally offended by. No thank you, Roger Ebert, I can't trust you anymore. The second one was released in 2004 and is Chris Pine's first feature film. I cannot wait to get to that movie because I love Chris Pine. And then the third one has obviously been speculated and begged for many, many years, and actually I think it's 2 years ago now at this point that Anne Hathaway did confirm that there was a script being written, and obviously Garry Marshall has passed away, so if they do it, I'm sure it's going to be as a tribute and in memory of Garry Marshall. I love this movie, so let's start with that. This movie, not I grew up with it, so I'm sure everything, but even when I try to watch this objectively, it's good. It's a good story. It's funny. This movie is funny. Hilarious. So funny. Anne Hathaway, Julie Andrews, all of them are at their top game. Like, I feel like people think it's probably mostly Mia that's being funny, and like Hector's got some moments, whatever. Julie Andrews is so amazingly subtly funny in this movie. One of my personal favorites, like every time she's like disgusted by something is amazing, but my personal favorite is when Paolo kisses her hand and she like takes it away. I feel like people realize like she's taking it away because she's grossed out and everything, and she's like, oh, but what I feel like a lot of people don't notice is she like suddenly wipes it on her jacket, and it's so good. But there are so many moments in this movie that are so funny. Objectively speaking, has a lot of heart. I cried. And has a really good message, and has really good, like, women power. And just, like, oh, it's so good. I digress. Some of my favorite lines that just, like, killed me for some reason this time around. Please don't... please don't crush my soy nuts. And then, no, it's bigger than orthodontia. It's bigger than orthodontia. I've already had braces. No, it's bigger than orthodontia. I can't deal with that. And then, you're so lucky you don't know who your parents are. To Fat Louie. Oh my god, it's so good. Oh, it's so funny. And then I never noticed that Josh's boat is called the Josher. Which is so dumb. Oh my god. Like, it's so stupid. The Josher. He named his boat the Josher. Anyway, this movie is excellent. I really, really love this film. I think, you know, the cinematography, I don't think there was anything, like, super stand out about the cinematography, but I do think it's really effective. And I think the editing's really effective. I think you're on the characters you need to be on when you hear certain lines or see certain reactions. So I do think the cinematography and editing are, well, the cinematography at the very least is, like, really nice, standard, great. Nothing like, they didn't go too experimental or anything, or adventurous with the cinematography, but it is very effective for the story they're telling. And then the editing, I feel like, is really well done. It's a really well-paced movie. I'm never bored, and a lot of the editing really helps a lot of the comedy, and it helps tell the story, which is what you want the edit to do. Music, obviously incredible. Like, the score is great, but then also, like, they're like Supergirl, Miracles Happen, What Makes You Different, like, soundtrack is also just a banger. And then also Michael, the kid, Robert Schwartzman, has a band called Rooney that appears in the movie, obviously. And my brother and I have been Rooney fans, so, like, it's fun to always see him and be like, oh, hey, that's Rooney. Rooney's got really good music. Check out Rooney if you haven't. Should have been after you. When did your heart go missing? All bops. All of that, excellent. The writing, I think, is also excellent. The fact that this movie is this funny and they accomplished a G rating, like, it just proves that you can make a movie for all ages, for all genders, for all, you know, well, the representation in this movie could use a lot of work. Okay, that's for sure. Another moment I think is so funny, and for what, is when they're doing the wave scene. Joe's pretending to drive, and he's, like, even pretending to, like, shift, and it, like, why? Why is he doing that? They're just pretending to wave, like, he doesn't have to. Oh, it's so funny, it's so funny. On a more serious note, though, the scene where, like, it's just such a pivotal moment for me. I think it's really, really good. It's the scene where Clarice asks Joe, do you think she can do it? And, like, without missing a beat, he says, oh, I have no doubt. And she goes, I thought so too. Like, it's just so powerful. It's such a big moment, and it makes me emotional because it's like, she can do it. She's amazing. And them knowing that the press were taking advantage of her and the boy was taking advantage of her and all of that, and just to see Mia's growth, and oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love this movie. That's everything I have for the Princess Diaries. This movie, guys, this movie is so good. I love this movie a lot. If you've never seen the Princess Diaries, what are you doing? It's on Disney Plus. I own it, but it's on Disney Plus. Go give it a watch. I grew up with this movie. This movie means a lot to me. I was always I mean, I watched this movie. It's a rewatch for sure. I absolutely rewatch this movie maybe once a year at least. Like, you know, once a year, once every couple years, like, at the very least. That's how often I rewatch it, because it's so good. Like, imagine, I was 7 or 8 years old when this came out, so, like, I was prime age for this. I think I might have seen the second one in the theater. I'm not sure, though. I feel like I did. Because I remember being like, yo, Raven Simone's in this one. Like, I was excited. And then I had a big fat crush on Chris Pine. Anyway, my final rating is 9 tiaras out of 10. Our total movie count is... Our parent death toll is... Our cry count is... If you want to keep up with the movie I'm watching when, follow me on Instagram or Twitter. You'll find out what movie I'm watching when. I put out videos every Monday and Friday and sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. I have a lot of stuff going on over there all the time. Daily trivia. I have a tier starting at just $1. Just go check it out, okay? Buy merch. Merch is great. Parent death toll, because there was parent death in this movie. Seen, well, not seen on screen, but said on screen multiple times. And until next time, comment, like, and subscribe, but I'm not in charge of your life. You are studio, and don't be the Barons about it. The Barons about it, they were mean. Or Josh about it. Ugh, don't be him either. Miracles happen once in a while when you believe.